So I think so the most of the acquisitions I've done to date have been in the 3, 4, $5 million range, and I'd like to probably start doing larger deals. I'm not ready for a $50 million deal, but if I could jump up to 10, 12 million and do two or three of those next year, that would be great. And of course, that requires more partners and teammates. And so you
Sure.
continually build these relationships. So I think I'd like to scale up in terms of the property size. And I'm an old school guy. I'm 67. And so I may go counter to the conventional wisdom. I believe some kind of systematic step up makes sense. I'm not going to argue with the go big as quick as you can philosophy either, because it certainly works. But just for me, investing other people's capital is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
So I think starting a little smaller makes sure I have the team in place that can do the job. And then you gain confidence as you execute, and it allows you to take it to the next level. So that's kind of my approach, not saying it's the right one, but it's the one that I kind of do.
No, very well said. We oftentimes think about, oh, we have to go as big as possible, but if the program and your strategy is not in place and you are taking on people's capital here, you're basically trying out your approach on someone else's dime. And although you may be investing too, probably the lion's share is coming from investors. And so the return of capital, right? The preservation of capital. So the growth of capital, yeah, that's great. But the other two, they have to stand forward, right? You have to have that in your strategy here. And so many times we say, well, I'm buying all these buildings, but if you don't have the team, right, that's a big infrastructure play where you're just taking on a lot of risk with potential. Yeah. Could there be a return? Yes. But the downside risk really can outweigh it. So the step up approach, I absolutely agree. I think it really carries such a good purpose to what you're doing, right? Because if you can step up, then great. Then, turn the engine on, let's go, but it takes that first next step up to see, okay, how do we play at this level, right? How is this playing like? How do we move to that next piece here? And I think it's going to be really beneficial looking at what you just did here with this last year. I'm sure 2022 is going to be no different.
Well, thanks. Yes. And I think the other thing is if you approach this as kind of a long term business,
Yeah.
by producing, serving your clients, it's always easier if you can keep your existing clientele happy. That's a lot easier than finding new clientele, right? So it's important to do well, and you then build that loyalty and trust. And I know you probably have investors that have invested in 4 or 5 of your deals sequentially because you've proved yourself. And so that provides value to you because you have this loyal, committed investor base that when you find the right property, they'll be there to support it on the end that they need. So take a little longer term approach. It's not about one deal. It's about doing it well repeatedly.